What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to show you how to automate key areas of your agency and everything you should be doing to position yourself and your business for scaling. I know many marketing agencies' core problems consist of juggling endless tasks, whether that's just handling service delivery, client management, accounting, onboarding, whatever. I'm going to give you actionable strategies and automations that will save you time, reduce manual errors, and ultimately free you to focus your efforts to more high value work that'll actually move the needle in your company. So I've been able to help companies save tens of hours every single week, compounding into hundreds of hours and well over thousands of dollars saved every year through just implementing systems like what I'm about to show you. So if you're a business owner and you want to leverage our AI systems to scale your business and completely eliminate your repetitive tasks, like I've done with companies before, then book a free call with me and I'll show you how to drive revenue, save time in your business, and ultimately scale for growth so that you can finally step away from the daily operations. And be sure to join my school community because I'll be providing so much other valuable resources that will help you grow and scale your business, which I don't provide on my YouTube. So getting started, I wanted to show you this process map that I put together, which basically covers a whole array of different things, from how to actually identify your bottlenecks to, you know, automating your marketing activities, structuring a scalable agency model, or automating your CRM management, project management, implementing recruitment automations, and how to actually go about doing that. I'll even show you some automations that I've built out and some recommended next steps. But you know, to get started, I wanted to go into this first process, which is actually analyzing your current processes to identify your bottlenecks. So we're going to be doing a little bit of reverse engineering in this process, and this is something that I actually do within my own company and what we do for our clients when we're taking on a new business. And yeah, so essentially what we're going to be doing is documenting core agency workflows. So really, you want to just map out your key activities for whether that's just client acquisition, so onboarding, or just acquiring new clients, service delivery, or internal operations. So you can, some examples of processes that you can include may be lead management, client onboarding, service delivery, or even reporting. So let's say, for example, you are handling your reporting in-house. So, let's say Stacy is spending 4 hours a week just creating presentations and decks for your clients to go over some of the reporting, because obviously you have to give your clients updates. So this is something that truly can be automated. So basically just scraping your dashboard, or even if you don't have a dashboard, basically just creating that dashboard, making sure that you're tracking your analytics and automatically sending those reports to your clients. So, in theory, you shouldn't have to, spend all this time on menial tasks like reporting your data, which this can all be done through means of automation. So the idea here is to just focus on the asymmetrical tasks that are actually going to, move the needle within your business. So now we'll go over pinpointing your time-consuming and repetitive tasks, and I'll even show you an example of how we do this. So basically, you just want to identify the frequently repeated manual tasks, that can be data entry or follow-ups. So just highlight these areas that are requiring manual intervention that are leading to your bottlenecks. So, we want to generate the most throughput, and obviously that's not going to be happening if you have these pain points and bottlenecks. So let's now determine the impact of each task. So you just want to categorize your tasks as, high impact, even medium and low impact. So you just want to basically be generating the highest return on investment, also known as ROI, or low impact things, like administrative tasks. So I actually created a tutorial of building out a complete administrative assistant where you can just do things like texting your phone, or even calling your assistant and having it do a whole array of different things like getting your emails, sending emails, updating tasks, getting your tasks, and all that. So yeah, basically the idea here is to just put in, so obviously you're going to be putting in some sort of effort, whether that's a little bit or whether that's a lot. So we'll call this effort. And basically we have this little funnel, and right here is where your bottlenecks are going to be. So obviously you're going to be putting in all this effort, and you want to make sure that all that effort is, going to output value within your business. So you just want to be focusing on the highest ROI tasks. So right here, this is where your bottlenecks are, as I just mentioned. And this, in theory, this should just be open. So every amount of effort that you're putting in should be generating a high ROI. So please ignore the bad illustration. But anyways, so really quick, I wanted to show you an example of one of the systems that we relatively use to go about our process of identifying bottlenecks. And this is just an example. This isn't actually what our system looks like. But yeah, so you could just be listing out things like your role. And let's say you have a customer success manager. So we're going to list out their process. So let's say that's customer onboarding. They completely handle that. So then you just want to list out the description. So sending onboarding emails, setting up meetings, collecting data, and then, just list out the estimated time per task. So whether that's 2 hours a week, 3, 4, or 5, then you'll want to move on to the frequency. So how often this task is actually executed, and then the current time spent per week in hours. Then you just want to, so this is more so for our sake and basically finding out if automation is realistic. And we go down a more in-depth process, but we'll move down. So then you just want to show the estimated time saved with automation. So, whether that's saving you 70% time within your week or, 2%, then next is just tracking your metrics. So this is what happens after the automation is actually implemented. So post automation, you could see 30 minutes reviewing automated data was saved. Then you just list out the priority, the impact it has, whether that's high, medium, low, the amount of effort that's put into the task. So you want to be focusing likely on the low effort tasks, which generate the highest impacts within your business. And this goes on even further, but that's just some of the most important things. But anyways, let's go ahead and get back to our process map. So next we'll talk about automating your marketing activities. So the first one of the 3 is email campaign automations. So you want to automate your lead nurturing sequences for new subscribers. And please note that not all of these may apply to your exact scenario, and you can just skip ahead if they don't. But yeah, so you want to automate your lead nurturing sequences for your new subscribers, and whether you have a newsletter or if you are having them subscribe to some sort of lead magnet, or maybe a course, then you just want to set up follow-up sequences for non-responding leads and warm prospects. So we call this drip campaigns. So next up, you could do things like social media posting. So you can automate your content scheduling and posting across multiple platforms. And, you could set up triggers for engagement responses, such as auto replies to comments or messages. So you might have seen this before, where if you comment on somebody's profile, asking to get some sort of lead magnet, it's going to automatically respond to you as soon as you comment or DM them with that lead magnet that you requested for. So these are the types of automations that you should be implementing within your social medias. We could go into make.com, and let's say every time we have a new row added to our Google Sheets. So we'll say watch new rows. So every time we have a new row added to our Google Sheets, whether that's an ID or something, we can use AI. So we'll do chat GPT. So we could just do something like completion, and something like choose a model real quick, whatever. And we'll just say, write me a LinkedIn post based on the Sheets idea. So let's say this Google Sheet has some sort of idea. Just do 100 tokens. And next up, we could just hook up LinkedIn. So if we create a user text post, and we just use the results from ChatGPT, then we could automate our post for LinkedIn. So something pretty simple. So we'll go back to our process map. So Next up is campaign adjustments. So you can actually establish automated rules to pause low performing ads and optimize for budget allocation. So this can get a little tricky, but really the idea here is to automate your fulfillment, your service delivery. So ideally within agencies, you want to productize everything and make it as easy as possible to not only onboard your clients, but deliver your services and, just make sure that your clients are happy and you have great case studies. So, using established rules like this will help with that. So, next up, we'll be talking about structuring a scalable agency model. So, I only included just one here. I didn't want to get too in depth, but so you could standardize your service delivery. So, whether that's implementing standard operating procedures, so you've probably heard this by the acronym of SOPs. So, doing this for each service offered. So, let's say you have a operation where, let's say, creating this specific automation, you can create a loom out of that, and basically just walking through this step by step, and that's considered an SOP because it's basically a training on or documentation on how to do something. So from that loom you can even break it down even further and just give a transcript and put it in a Google Sheet. So just having standard operating procedures just allows for just seamless transactions within your company, whether that's onboarding someone and just giving them those SOPs right away, or just giving instructions to specific employees. So basically, it just wants you to define your repeatable steps for recurring tasks like campaign setup and client reporting. I won't get into that too much further. So next up, we're going to be talking about automating your sales and CRM management. So starting off with the sales pipeline automation. So this is where you're going to be automatically moving your leads through sales stages based on engagement. So what that can look like is just setting up notifications for your sales rep when a lead changes stage or requires follow-up. So, if we have in our CRM, so this isn't going to be a perfect example, but let's say we have a person or a client. So we'll call this person Tom. And let's say their stage or their status changed from not started to in progress. So from in progress and not started, while this has changed or when this has changed, it can trigger a whole bunch of automations, whether that's sending a reminder or a notification to your team, or maybe it's entering them into a drip campaign and taking a whole plethora of different actions. So that's kind of what I mean by that. Next up is lead qualification, where you're just using AI chatbots to pre-qualify your leads and schedule meetings. So from here, you can automatically score your leads based on predefined criterias, and making sure that they fit your ICP and that they're actually qualified. So what could then look like? Having a chatbot on your website where it's basically asking your customers questions and making sure that they're qualified. So, checking for a certain budget and, a whole list of different actions. So let's say all of these are different leads, and let's say they only have a budget of, or let's say that their automations are of low importance and they don't really need dire attention, then maybe we just won't be focusing on those specific clients. Next up, we'll talk a little bit about proposal and contract automation. So this is just where you're creating and sending customized proposals and agreements with digital signatures. So we can relate this to my onboarding process. So I actually created a video in the past which goes over how to automate your onboarding. So essentially, anytime somebody is in my CRM and their status has changed from lead to client, then it's going to be triggering some different things. One, it's going to be automatically sending them invoices. And if it's necessary to draft up an NDA, then it's automatically going to, create a specific type of NDA following a bunch of different templates. So if they're giving me their account credentials or handling any other types of sensitive information, then it's going to create a specific type of NDA, and it's going to send that to the recipient and just try to get their signatures, so you don't have to do every stage, wait for the next stage and stuff like that. But let's move on to the next one, which is optimizing operations and project management. So for the first one, this is a pretty important one, which is automating your task management. So just creating tasks and assigning deadlines based on project stages. So from here, you can set up automatic reminders for overdue tasks. So we can consider this one. So the system/automation is called complete website. So you can put in a description, whatever. So let's say the start date is the 20th of September and the end date should be the 1st of October. So, if it's recognizing that today is the 2nd and the execution date or the end date was supposed to be on the 1st, then it's going to be sending updates to whatever necessary party. So whether that's my team who is actually fulfilling some services or handling this specific project, it's going to send them a reminder like, hey, just wanting to send you this reminder that you need to complete the website by yesterday. So it can do different things like that. So let's go back to the board. Let's talk a little bit about client communication automation. So you can implement status update sequences to basically just keep clients informed at regular intervals. So we're going to be going back to our Airtable quite a bit today, but essentially, if our progress has, let's say we have a bunch of different edits within, or options, I should say, within these statuses. So if the status is not started, or we could add other statuses, whether that's halfway done, 25% done. So whatever way that your company, your agency is structuring this, it can send automatic reminders, or not really reminders, but more so updates on what's going on within the project. So basically just giving updates throughout the build and making sure that your client are constantly in the loop and knowing what's going on. So what that status update can look like, so we can even build something quick out. So let me delete that. So if I go to Airtable and I do watch records, and basically we're just going to be watching for changes. So anytime a record is changed from not started to, 25% done, we could send an email to automatically send something like 25% done. And then, we could just fill in the rest saying, hey, we're 25% done with the automation. And, we're still on track to finish everything by the 1st of October, whatever that date may look like. Obviously, it's going to be different. But next up is document automation. So this is where you can automatically generate project plans and reports using predefined templates. So this one is pretty cool. And I actually built something up for a law firm, which basically, anytime this law firm was receiving something in the mail, all they had to do was submit a form. And I created a video on this in the past, and you can check that out. Basically, I think it's called just how to automate a law firm, or how we did it. But yeah, essentially, we were able to automatically generate some documents based on what they were filling out in the form, just using templatized things within Google Docs. So we're just inserting the variables from the Google Forms and putting it into the Google Doc template. And then this is taking a bunch of different actions, like sending off the document to some of the recipients, like the clients and the lawyers and whoever else may have needed it. But let's move on to the next stage, which is implementing recruitment automation. So if we start off, we could just talk about candidate sourcing and screening. So just using job board integrations to pull candidates into a central system. And, you could do this through setting up automated email responses for the initial screening. Next up, we'll talk about interview coordination. So automating interview scheduling and reminders for candidates. So this might not always apply to your specific agency, but sometimes you might have to bring on some VAs, or if you want to, just find some more employees. So what you can do here is basically just automate the entire process. So if interviewing is going to be a process that's, very prevalent within your company, this is something that you should be automating to ultimately, save you time, of course. So next, we'll get into the offer management. So just automating the generation of offer letters and onboarding documentation. So, like I said earlier, once your status is changed from something like lead into client, then this is just automatically sending or triggering something to send a plethora of different things, like sending them that offer letter or anything else that you guys might need from the parties. So now we'll move on to the streamlining accounting and billing. So this is another cool one. And not even agencies, every company should be having something like this where you're just automating your invoices. So this one's pretty simple, bare bones, but just generating and sending invoices automatically based on project milestones. So if you check out my make.com how to automate your onboarding, I included in there how to automatically send invoices and create invoices. So basically what we're doing is we're going to be referencing this once this lead is changing to a client, but whatever. So anytime a new lead is transferred into a client and the status is changed, so the record's being updated, whatever. So we want to automatically send them invoices so we can use Stripe. And we're basically so if I go into Stripe, we're basically just creating invoices, creating customers, sending those invoices off to the recipient party, whoever that's going to be. So we'll call that Tom. And let's say we also input a budget of something like $5,000. That's $50,000. But let's say we're charging them $5,000 for our retainer. We're basically just wanting to invoice that in Stripe. So just connecting all those dots right there. Next is expense management. So just automatically tracking and categorizing the expenses based on specific transaction rules. And lastly is payment reminders. So if we refer to what we were just talking about with the invoicing automation, so if we have a old invoice of $5,000, that's a terrible dollar sign, but I'm not known for drawing. So we have an old invoice of $5,000 and they haven't paid. So what we can do is actually send them an email and basically just saying something like, hey, you haven't paid. Sending them text messages or any other forms to get their attention. So yeah, just making sure that we're following up with the people that haven't paid so that everything is in check. So let me go ahead and remove all this. And now let's talk about implementing AI-driven analytics and reporting. So we touched on this a little bit at the start, but diving into the real-time dashboards. So this is where you're just pulling data from various sources to just create dynamic performance dashboards. So whether this is tracking your ads or your leads. So it doesn't have to apply just ads. So if we're tracking some things like your leads and your sales calls, so maybe you have a virtual assistant who's taking your sales calls or somebody full-time and you just want to track their performances, which obviously you should be doing in the first place because this is something super important. You're making sure you want to get your money's worth and that they're actually converting. Otherwise, you should probably fire them. But yeah, so just pulling your data from various sources to just create dynamic performance dashboards. And you can start off with doing this in Airtable. So Airtable allows for different things like interfaces. And with interfaces, this is where you can build out your dashboards, your pie charts, line graphs, whatever you're really looking to do. That's going to look a lot different for every single company. But we'll talk about the automated client reports. So just setting up automated reporting sequences that just send performance summaries on a regular schedule. I won't talk about that a lot because I touched on that at the beginning. And performance alerts, where you're just establishing automated alerts for key metric changes, such as a sudden drop in your click-through rate. So obviously, if there's a sudden drop, then something drastic must have happened and you have to investigate. So before you're able to investigate, you don't want any more money to be spent within the campaign. So that's where it's important to establish automated alerts and setting up things like rules. So we'll get into the last few, which is managing your team coordination and communication. So this one's super important. So task assignment automation, where you're basically just assigning automatically. So basically you're just automatically assigning team members to just new projects based on your workload. So this is what we call a project management automation. I know, great name, right? But anyways, so let's say you have a client who just signed with you guys and you just closed them. So this is just going to automatically assign a specific person from your team to that person to do, whatever that may be. So if they're handling service delivery, then you're just automatically going to assign that person to that new client to handle that service delivery. And then this can do other things like send the employee notifications like, hey, you just have a new project. So we just closed a client. Here's their name. Here's the information. Here's what you're going to be doing for them. Here's the task listed out. And here's what you have to do next. So from there, you can just give project status updates. So as we said before, just sending automatic notifications to the team based on project progress, delays, reminders, anything else. And internal communication. So just using predefined communication sequences for key project phases. And we use Slack for this. So I won't get into it too much, but basically within Slack, it's just we have backend automation set up to do a bunch of different things. So if a client inputs a new task within our project management board, then it's going to send a message in our Slack channel that basically says, hey, this client just asked for a new project and you should probably check it out. Here's what it's saying, but investigate further. So from there, you can have them automatically schedule a call or whatever your steps may want to look like. Now we'll talk about building a seamless client experience. So client onboarding, client check-ins. So with client onboarding, which of course we talked about earlier, but you can automatically send welcome emails, you can automatically send over intake forms or even onboarding instructions. So if you were to refer to my onboarding video, which I've talked about I think twice already in this video, this guide, basically what we're doing is we're adding our new client that we just closed into our Slack channel. So we're giving them some instructions. So we're also doing different things like sending off emails to the onboardee. I think that's the proper word for this situation. But we're essentially adding the onboardee to our Slack channel, and it's giving them some instructions and encouraging them to schedule a discovery call, or not the discovery call, the onboarding call, where they just hand over credentials and other information that we may need to start the project and execute everything. Then you can do different things like client check-ins, where you're just automating regular check-ins and satisfaction surveys to just maintain the engagement and making sure that once you are finished with a project that you're going to be getting a stellar case study. Because at the end of the day, we're here to serve our clients and do the best damn job that we can possible. So we're going to be doing everything possible, or everything within our reach to assure that. So last one is reviewing and optimizing automation systems. So this one should be pretty simple to understand, but basically doing things like setting KPIs to measure automation success. So as I showed you earlier, we have the estimated time saved with the automation and the tracking metrics. So just doing things like this to actually see how you're saving time for that company. So, you could do things like tracking how much time is saved, the client satisfaction. So what we were just talking about earlier, just estimating, or I'm sorry, it should actually be pointing to this one, where you're just automatically tracking their check-ins and stuff like that, and making sure that you're setting the bar for specific satisfaction rates, and also ensuring that there's error reductions. So making sure that your automations are all in place and nothing else behind the scenes is breaking down. So then you'll want to regularly test and refine your workflows. So perform quarterly reviews to optimize existing workflows, and just staying updated on new tools and techniques. So just continually researching your new automation technologies and for new strategies. So, I mean, really what's going to separate the companies that you see who are going to be making millions of dollars and getting all these amazing investments within their company are the ones that are adapting to the new technologies, and just continuously being the early adopters with all these new technologies and actually utilizing them and finding ways that they can service them to other people to ultimately make life easier. Because at the end of the day, that's what a service or any type of company is. If you want to do well, you have to alleviate pain in some sort of way. That's how value is created. But yeah, so anyways, I just gave away some of the secrets on how we go about identifying bottlenecks to marketing companies and automating specific processes. So these are some of the most important things that you can be implementing within your marketing automation to ultimately just save you guys time and drive leverage within your business. So hope you found this of value. And I know I went through it pretty fast, but feel free to rewind and go through it again. And you can find different things like the cheats for this specifically in my school community. And if you're looking for us to actually come in and implement our AI systems to drive revenue and leverage our systems to save you guys time, then book a free call. Link is in the description, and we could discuss further. But with that being said, hope you found some value in this video, and I will see you in the next one.